For Wallace Hardware, it's a banner year. The company celebrates its 95th birthday and its 50th year of biannual hardware shows. But this day is like most other days over the past 95 years. It's a day of taking care of business. At the company's warehouse in Morristown, folks are busy loading, unloading, taking and filling orders. From here, they distribute goods to independent hardware stores over a 13-state area.
Back in the 20s, when the company began, it was not Wallace. It was called Whitaker, Holsinger, Jobbers, Inc. Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Holsinger had invited my grandfather to start the business with him. They said, we'll give you 10% if you come with us.
The name may have changed over the years, but a continuity of leadership runs through the company. It is truly a family company today, in feeling and fact. And speaking of Wallace Hardware, one name invariably comes up, John Wallace.
He's the one that had the vision to do a lot of the things that Wallace still does today.
He loved people. He loved to meet people all the time. And I think that's why he was such a good salesman.
He was a sharp man in that he was able to take rocks and turn them into gold, so to speak.
Longtime employees fondly remember his pearls of wisdom.
The Lord has to open the doors, but it doesn't mean we can't oil the hinges.
Plan your work and work your plans.
No man wins in a skunk squirting contest.
It's a mighty thin pancake that doesn't have two sides.
Nobody makes any money in this business till the dealer's cash register rings.
The secret of his success.
He was a very smart man, but a very hard worker. I mean, he worked. He kept his finger on everything. He knew what was going on from one end of the business to the other.
Invent the wheel?
No, but he'll tell you he knows how to make it roll.
The two-pronged business of retail hardware store and wholesaler operated from a building in downtown Morristown. Expansion into 3 other facilities would create problems in shipping and receiving. It was a simple 2-copy order form, but filling it was something else again. It required trips to 3 different floors and 2 different buildings, back and forth, up and down, picking and packing the product. Then it's on to the warehouse.
You know, you've got a massive activity both directions.
Massive activity and a well-used elevator made for some interesting incidents.
Bless his heart, Wilbur's dead and gone, but I remember the story was told about him having a load of paint, and then when the paint was on, if I recollect, was on the 2nd floor, and then he had to go to the 1st floor with it, and so when he loaded the paint on the elevator, he overloaded it, and when he got to the 2nd floor, it went on to the basement. It didn't stop. And I think there was some paint spilled on the way too. Of course, that can be interesting, especially when you got it running down the side of the elevator.
By the early 60s, the time had come to separate the businesses. John Wallace's brother-in-law, Ray Bradley, took the retail side, and John took the distribution side. With the split, a centralized facility for distribution became a priority.
He made the decision that he wanted to go wholesale only, and he and his brother-in-law divided up the business, and his brother-in-law took the retail part and stayed in town, and he came out here and built this new facility and went strictly wholesale.
He had a vision for the future. He knew what he needed to do, and the Lord blessed him with the ability to be able to see which way he needed to go with the next step to make something successful.
John Wallace had a farmer's heart, and he loved rural people. So it was natural for him to grow the business on the family farm that D.M. Wallace had bought on December 8th, 1941.
Those early days were tough because, money was very tight, and the ability to have inventory was very difficult at times. A lot of people thought he would not make it through those early years, but he did. He did. He was a determined man.
He was heavy-fisted. If he slapped his hand down on the table, that was it.
One of his slogans was, make a decision, you got a 50-50 chance of being right.
He'd listen to everybody's comments, but in the end, if he was going to go a different way, and some people say, now you sure you'll do that? And he would remind us, hey, go outside and see whose name's on the wall. Wallace Hardware. So That was when the discussion had ended, and you were ready now to move forward.
And move forward he did.
He loved to grow, and he was always having ideas about, well, we could do this, or we could do that, and we could do this, and get more business.
The more we can get things in front of people, the more our chances of selling to them are, So his idea was, well, let's just take it to them.
One of his innovations was to take the show on the road. He sent vans loaded with the newest products out to his hardware store customers. That idea was so well received, he decided to try it in reverse. He'd bring the customers to the warehouse, where they could view all the new products and have a good time to boot. And it would be a show. The shows were well attended from the get-go.
Mr. Wallace, he was very, very religious. We were all up here, and we having to do these peel-off stickers, and he was helping us. And this woman came in, and she was very well endowed, and Mr. Wallace had this sticker, and he was trying to figure out where to put it. We just had a good time with that.
An attention getter was the drawing for a Volkswagen Beetle. For the 50th anniversary of the shows, Wallace Hardware will again give away a Volkswagen Beetle. And that Beetle's older cousin from the first show will make an appearance. Business had to shut down during the shows held in the new warehouse facility. And in the summertime, it was hot.
Next year, we took the irrigating pump from down at the farm, set it out here, pumped the water on top of the building, sprinkled the top of the building and all. It cooled it right smart. It was still hot in there, though, but it cooled it a lot.
All the while, Wallace Hardware would continue to evolve. In 1963, Wallace began a partnership with Pro Hardware that developed into a respected consulting business, with dealers looking to modernize, compete, and expand.
In our marketing world, we also do the store layout planning and implementation of stores.
We would go into an old store that was a mess, and we would re-merchandise it, put in new fixtures.
It's our best interest to keep that dealer viable to his community.
We didn't have people coming and complaining about anything that we did, because they always had an increase in their business once they was remodeled. Their business picked up, and their percentage of profit showed up more for them.
You didn't worry about female traffic in those days because the female didn't make the buying decision. Well, that has changed totally over the years, so now the female probably controls more than 50% of the dollars. So they've had to change their way of thinking in the retail stores to appeal to the female, and to make the female feel welcome when they walk in that store rather than intimidated.
The hardware shows soon outgrew the Wallace warehouse. Other venues came in turn. Walter State just down the road, to the Mills Auditorium in Gatlinburg, to Pigeon Forge in the Grand Hotel, then back to the Gatlinburg Convention Center, and the current site, the LeConte Center in Pigeon Forge. A show with a family atmosphere has always been important with the Wallace Hardware folks. It's a reflection of the Wallace family itself. But a family atmosphere never stopped good-natured pranks. At one show, a plumbing manufacturer served lemonade out of one of our featured products, a commode.
I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's clean. It's never been used. There's nothing wrong with it. So I thought I'll have a little fun. So I went and got me a Baby Ruth bar, took it back there and dropped it in the lemonade.
Nobody wanted any more lemonade. It was all over.
There was some characters. You always have characters in any organization.
A basic philosophy of John's sales technique was reflected in the country store, where prizes were bought with funny money tied to the amount of hardware purchased.
Another one of his sayings was, especially when you'd go to these big shows in Chicago and places like that, he'd say, Snowden said you can always out-country them.
For the kids, Mr. Wallace handed out 5s, 10s, and 20s. Real money.
But he was giving them attention as much as anything. He was making them feel special. More important than that, he's making those parents feel special.
Beyond the lure of prizes and the opportunity to see new product, a huge draw for the shows was the food.
We would feed about 1,000 people a day. and I would fix slaw, coleslaw, and pimento cheese, and corned beef, and we had sliced ham too, and then we would buy chicken from roasted chicken back in those days.
We've always provided a lot of food for our customers at shows. Most other shows, they have to pay for their food.
The big thing is to try to make sure that people felt like that we were not having them there just to get their money.
I've been told several times that nobody puts on a show like Wallace Hardware. Nowhere in the industry do we get treated at another wholesale hardware show like we do at Wallace. And again, that was the philosophy of Mr. Wallace.
These people enjoy what they do.
My last day that I worked here, I'm still working. I'm 89, be 90 May the 1st.
I started out as, you might say, a young person. Well, I was young, 18.
I was 16. I'll make that 17, I guess.
I came in 61. I was 17 at that time, so I was young.
And John Wallace?
His hobby was working, so he semi-retired when he quit working on Saturday. We called it his semi-retirement.
From paper order forms to the telephone MSI to today's computers and iPads, Wallace has evolved. But at the heart of the business, Wallace remains unchanged. A Wallace still sits in the president's chair.
Well, good morning.
And the company's outlook is the same.
That was first and foremost. That, hey, look, we operate with honesty, integrity, but you start with the basis of God is number one, and respect for your fellow man and teamwork. Those things that's just some of the issues that needs to be there. And I saw that when I started working at Wallace Hardware.
The family values have stayed the same. The people skills, the people values have stayed the same.
If we don't do our jobs in every position, then you're not going to have success. And that's what Mr. Wallace tried to instill. It's what Dole instills today. We are all part of a team.
It wasn't one pulling against the other. It was all of us working together for the company's success.
The goal is not to say, I want to have a company where people can stay 50 years. But you can definitely have as a goal, and it says in our mission statement, that we'll have a Christ-like atmosphere or way of dealing with people. And that is, we want to treat others as we would like to be treated.
This family business has kept its soul and its heart. It's still family, and Wallace Hardware aims to keep it that way.